Again, I want to start this off by saying that these stories are 100% true and based on my personal experiences and the experiences of my family and friends that have been on the ranch. The Screamers. The reason why the common theme to most of these stories are tied around hunting is because that is the primary use of the ranch. About 30 years ago, my grandparents purchased 600 acres for its awesome deer hunting, as well as the timber value of the land. The property is cut in half by the Richland Creek and the Dorill branch, and in the summertime, the only time we are outside of the cabin area and around the property is during the day, and only if there's work to be done. Because there's a lot of water and a lot of thick brush, that means that there's a lot of snakes. In fact, many visitors to the property during the warm months have commonly stated that they have never seen so many snakes on a property. Thus, we tend to limit our walking around outdoors when it's hot. However, the same cannot be said during hunting season, and I, myself, do the most hunting on the property. I would say that I spend far more hours outside around the ranch than anyone else. My grandmother lives in the cabin full time, but does not drive around the property when no one else is there. Thus, that is why I have more encounters than other family and friends. But there is one occurrence that everyone seems to experience when out hunting, and that is the Screamers. While it does not happen every time, it does happen quite frequently. Have you ever been asleep and been quickly awakened by what you think is someone screaming in your ear? What I'm talking about is the exact same thing, however, it will happen when you're wide awake. The most terrifying encounter I've had with this occurred about 2 years ago. It was an early morning and the sun had just come up. I had been sitting in the stand for about an hour and thought I had heard footsteps of a deer creeping into the field from behind me. If you have been in this situation, then you know the feeling. Adrenaline overcomes you because of the anticipation of what you're about to see. It is what every hunter lives for, the unknown of what is about to step out into the open. It is exciting, and you remain very still, very quiet, and dial yourself in for any moves you may make if the deer is worth shooting. But almost with perfect timing, as everything grew so quiet, and I grew more and more focused on the methodical steps of what I thought was a deer, the sound of a man's voice shouted in my left ear, "Ha!" The scream was so loud and scared me so much that I jerked over to my right and fell from the platform that is 20 feet above the ground. Thank God I was wearing my safety harness as it caught me, and I was able to swing over to the ladder and get back up into the stand. I looked around, and there was obviously no one there, not a trace of a person. Prior to this, I had experienced the screams, but before, it was normally quite low in volume and not so close. Never have I been so scared to fall out of the stand before. After this, I concluded that I probably scared away any deer in this area and decided to pack up and go back to the cabin. When I was climbing down, I noticed a safety rope I used to secure myself when climbing up and down the ladder had been severed, not by a knife, but like something had chewed it away. This was especially alarming because it was not like that when I climbed up into the stand prior to the incident.